it was like your theme music. I'm like,
I thought it was
Jonathan has
music coming into the pitch with some of your music from the entertainment hall or something, man.
Wait, did you hear it? You heard the music too?
No. I did not hear the music, but I would have liked to hear it. I would have been like, what? Wait, you like what?
That's what's up. Well, man,
Yeah.
thanks for taking the time to hop on with me for Pitch Investors Live and the company Band Music LLC. I feel honored to have some of your time today.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, I mean, I don't know if you know who I am for you and for the other people watching. So I'm actually one of the co-founders of Pitch Investors Live. I'm a serial entrepreneur, basically had 22 companies or more for small rinky-dink ventures that I've had in the past. It's just I've had a passion starting and building stuff. Had a marketing agency, work with over 500 clients. I'm also an investor, mostly in e-commerce, tech. Want to be getting into more like AI and just like emerging technology, things that are basically, changing the landscape and that I can have fun with. So that's kind of like what I like to get into. And I've seen that there's a huge gap, like Pitch Investors Live did. I mean, look what's happening today. Like we're having a pitchathon. I think we've had over 40 pitches from people from all over the globe, right? So you're able to pitch people literally all over the world instantaneously. And then here's the thing. You're not just pitching the investor himself. You're actually pitching hundreds to thousands of people simultaneously. And a lot of our deals are not even coming from the actual people that are on the pitch itself. They're actually coming from the people in the audience, which is crazy. We've had deals happen from people that were watching. We had a gentleman that basically he was actually not only did he get an investment, he got a couple business partners, but he ended up getting acquired, and it all started on Pitch Investors Live, right? Wow. So that was super amazing. Within, I think it was like less than a year's time, everything happened. So things are speeding up, and I'm like very much looking forward to hearing more about what you're doing, and the entertainment style too. Like I want to hear more about it. So go ahead and give me an intro and the people that are watching on like what you do and what basically your business is about and what you're looking to get here at Pitch.
Awesome. Well, my name's Hanoch Hickman, and I'm the founder of the company Band. Name of our company is the company Band Music LLC. We're headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. Ironically, I'm in Chicago, Illinois, which are the two cities that have kind of formed our story of how we ended up with over 200 musicians nationwide. I'm originally a musician. I still play several of our events, but we basically provide entertainment to private events. And so, just if you talk to any musician, they've got, of course, a story, like a journey, a road that they've been on, when it's come to their levels of success. I've found my most recent levels of success in scaling myself, in finding ways for me to be in other places where I physically am not. And so, I've come up with training materials and a system and a team that supports this, where we're able to basically deliver the same level of service and the same sound in up to 12 markets simultaneously. And so that means we're going into wedding receptions, we're going into private parties thrown by businesses, and we are giving them the time of their lives. We're making memories for them, but we're doing it in a way that is very calculated. And so, we, just like you may see, be in LA and see a Blue Man Group show there, and you can go to New York the next day and see a Blue Man Group show and say, man, those shows were extremely similar, but it was two totally different groups of people performing the shows. And that, in essence, is what I've done with bands. So, I started playing as a kid, and, entrepreneurs were my mom and my dad. I needed a way to basically duplicate as I became a Charlotte native and my daughter was in Chicago. So I started traveling along the road from Charlotte to Chicago. And over the years of just going back and forth, accumulated the right amount of connections as far as musicians, as far as venues, as far as event planners. And I've created a network in which when I combine it with my website and how I manage not only all of my leads and my prospects on my website, but I also manage musicians through my website. It's just a cool way that everyone is connected, and the sound is one that I've created myself, and I transfer that sound over through just some proprietary technological ways that we kind of transfer sound, rehearse musicians, and evaluate what they sound like and what they're doing at the actual gigs.
And are they like basically because what you're saying is a quick question. Like if they're doing the Blue Man, right? So if they're doing Blue Man type of show, not to say it's like that, but you're saying that your musicians, the 200 of them on nationwide, would play maybe the same exact song and music that one in another city would be, or something like that, and then you
yes
actually follow that and take.
It's the same exact song, and we're talking about cover tunes. So, it's not that from a musical standpoint, it's not that difficult to imitate a cover tune. Say, your Frank Sinatra, that's not that hard to imitate, or Bruno Mars. It's not that, at least to me, because I've been doing it all my life, right?
Cover bands and stuff like that basically do that type of stuff. Right.
But the way in which it's presented, can a band go from, song number 1 through song number 20 without stopping? Can they make that experience sound like somebody's DJing up there, except it's a live band dancing and sweating and getting the crowd moving? How does that happen where a band can actually like go from song to song and have arrangements where we're just not stopping, we're keeping the party going, and kind of not only keeping it going, but taking it up, gradually over the course of about 4 hours, which is our average performance time.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that experience that I initially did with just one band, where we'd be creative enough to go from one song to the other, is what I've managed to capture in my system and transfer across state lines to several bands at all at one time.
Because so basically you have like a formula that that works, and it's like you want to try to replicate it so that they're not trying to rebuild the wheel, because you have a system that works, and you're trying to get them to replicate it because this is what gets people riled up and excited, basically.
Correct.
That's actually a really good idea. That's having a template for basically success, because it is, if it's the same song, as long as they can get people a little routed up, there's probably a formula.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So yeah, that is musically, that's what makes us different from many other bands. But also from a customer service perspective, because we are sales, service, and delivery, it means that either the first or second contact that a potential customer is having is with us. So we don't go through agencies. We start that process with the customer, and that process ends with our customer, which means from the time that they're shopping entertainment options, whether that be a DJ, a specialty act, or band, we want them to pick our band, and then we want them to be with us and let us hold their hand through that entire process. Let's send you some templates now as our customer, and make sure that you have everything you need to have in order for your event, and follow them and hold their hand all the way through their feedback for how the band did, you know, on the day of their event. So we literally have hundreds of videos and written reviews from the clients that we've serviced, because we hold their hand from the beginning of the process until the end. That it's different than the other folks, because usually they call an agent. That agent takes down information. What kind of band are you looking for? What kind of act are you looking for? And that agent just kind of points them in the direction of an entertainment option. And once they get that entertainment option, the agent pulls their 15 to 30 or more % off of it. And they're kind of like out of the deal, you know, and they leave it up
they
to
get the first job. After that, they could just call those guys back, and then they'll just cut out basically the middleman, right? Like they could just cut out the middleman, or how does that work? Is there contracts that are put into play usually?
Well, I'm kind of comparing us to an agent, and I'm saying we're the agency, we're the talent, and we're kind of like the accountability guys. Where an agent does not mostly just finds talent, and they don't coach their talent through that process with their clients. So there's a piece of connection that is normally missed by going through many agents, as opposed to the company band brand, which is we are your agent when you first contact us, and the things that we promised you in that sale, we can see all of that through, you know, fast forward 6 months, 7 months, a year or two from the time you booked our band to the time that your event actually plays. We've built a relationship with you as our client. And so typically our client knows more about us, and we know more about them through that process. But it's also something that, because we have systems and some templates and some other things that I'd love to share more with you on when we have more time, we're able to basically crank them out at very high numbers, up to 12 events simultaneously.
And then have you guys automated or systematized, or is this something that they have to talk to a rep? Like, this is not something that you could put into an app and then basically, you know, like be able to book them through that itself to simplify like the process, or people really got to talk to like a human being, you know, like.
Well, at some point you have to talk to someone, because you're talking about, we say we're in the music business, but we're in the memory making business. So we're in the business of making people feel good about, you know, whatever event that they're doing, whether that's a wedding or a company party or whatever. So there needs to be a conversation at some point, at least one, if not several. But there are aspects of our business that are automated. Every single one of our customer gets a custom planning page with certain steps they can take on their own to help with the planning process. They also get a set of samples of events, samples of timelines, samples of song lists, you know, so we can customize. You know, they may say, I don't want to hear the chicken dance, which nobody wants to play the chicken dance anyway, but you know, they're able to give us their preferences through our website, and we're able to translate that into boom, here's your list of preferences basically on stage with your sound and your lights, and all of that we provide in our clients' packages.
Yeah. Got it.
Definitely want to get to an app, but that's the area, that level of efficiency is where we're wanting to leverage an investment and just take our efficiency up to another level. Yeah, that'll allow us to be a lot more utilized.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking that is because I was actually approached to help with marketing and do advisory for a company Because I used to have a marketing agency, and that's what backs a lot of our
Mm-hmm.
projects now. It acts like more of an accelerator and everything like that now.
Mm-hmm.
Taking on clients and just started launching a lot of our own stuff. And so basically, we were approached by a company that does something very similar to what you guys are doing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
based out of, I think it's actually right here in South Florida. So I might be able to definitely connect you with them, actually. See if there's any type of synergy. They're actually looking to take it into an app. So I think that would be a conversation where I can basically link you guys together, which could be highly beneficial. There could be some type of partnership, like potential, where we can feed off each other, because, it's happening. Like, people are coming up with these different ideas. So it's good to see who else is out there, form alliances before they become competition.
Yeah.
But, I'm very much about that. Like, people are like, man, people don't understand. It's like, there's in a lot of industries that I've been in, that I've done well in, I've failed many times, I've succeeded a bunch of times. So like at the end of the day, it's like I always see a lot of people being very competitive, and it's like, man, why are you being competitive? Like, stop the competitive bullshit and literally just go ahead and align and like get together. And you never know, these are some really good resources that basically can help you grow exponentially. Instead of that very competitive spirit, doesn't make any sense to me. It's not something I do, at least personally. So let's get into the numbers really quickly. So talk to me. Let's talk some numbers. I want to know, like, how much money has been put into this? How much revenue have you guys made? How much are you guys getting out of these pitches? How much you guys are getting out of, let's say that you book one of these artists and you're sending them out. Like, how do you make money off this? And give me like a little synopsis of the financial situation at hand.
Okay, so we've up until now we've done over $4 million in revenue. This year we're at $897,000 in sales. We're projecting 1.3 million by the end of December, and we've seen those numbers go up. A couple $100,000 per year since 2015. We were at about 220K in 2015, and we've been kind of increasing since then.
Yeah, solid growth. Yeah.
When it comes to how we monetize this, we've basically seen our average customer amount go from close to a little under $4,000 to we're closer to the $5,000 mark. We're at about $4,860 per customer. We feel like that number can increase, but we're really careful about it because we want to stay close. We want to be competitive in the industry.
Yeah.
And so we're really just looking at ways to be more efficient in the bulk aspect of things, like, 2 full-time employees. Can we crank out 1,000 gigs in a year as opposed to the mid 200s we're doing right now, and use a very similar number in team members by being more technologically savvy, and, like you said, going into the app. So right now, what we're trying to do is basically take our efficiency up by with $150,000 investment. We feel that can yield some projections of closer to 2.6 for 2020, and then that number by 2024 looking closer to 25 million in revenue. Right now,
what did you guys profit? So out of I don't know if you know your numbers, like till today, the 800 and something thousand, but maybe last year, like, what was your revenue versus your profit last year? Are you aware of those numbers yet?
Our revenue 850,000, profit 230,000 in 2018.
Okay. And what's your profit? What's your profit on, let's say, what did you say it was $4,620? What was it per gig that you guys are doing right now? How much are you guys making per gig?
We make about $1,400 per gig in net profit.
It's not bad.
The name of the game for us is basically to acquire a customer at a slightly lower cost because our names are recognized a little bit more in this industry. Of course, when you're dealing with the industry, two separate industries. You got B2B, business events, that need music at them. That's a $368 billion industry. So we want to basically group some bookings together, get in with some companies where we are your official music company of your company, companies that have offices in several cities. Can we do 24 Christmas parties, in that with that one sale? So really grouping things together in our sale is how we plan to really kind of take those, make those margins a little bit higher. Did that answer your question?
That would help systematize it and everything like that. Okay. So right now, so you had like $200,000 and change in profit last year. Have you been using some of the money to build back into the company itself? Like, is that what you've been doing? Like with part of the potential other profit that there could have been? Or is that something that you guys are kind of wanting now, outside investment to come in, let's say $150,000? And how would the $150,000 be used?
We do want other investors to come in for the certain things we've spent money on, i.e. equipment. Those are just investments that we don't have to reinvest in. Of course, over time, you got to replace things. But, we have about $175,000 in assets. And it's because we've just been putting back into the business over the years when it's come to just hard things that we need every single year. I want to take $25,000 and put it into online platforms that bring us business. And so that might be an aspect like with you and your company where we don't have to necessarily spend 25 grand on those platforms because you might own some of them or know of a better way.
I really want to get you connected with this individual because like one of the ways that potentially easy marketing for this, obviously you could see the power. There's a documentary. I was just talking to one of the other entrepreneurs about this. There's a documentary that just came out that said it's called The Great Hack. And what they're talking about, myself, even just for my own companies, I've spent, just in a 3-month period, we spent over $2 million in Facebook ads. And I can't stress how powerful Facebook is. And if you have $1,400 to acquire, let's say, a customer, and mind you, this doesn't even mean that's the lifetime value of a customer. Like imagine the lifetime value is like 1.5. So instead of $1,400, it theoretically, before you start saving money, that's actually $2,600, right? So, no, I'm sorry. If it's 14, that'd be like $2,100. So let's say it's $2,100. You can acquire all the way up to, like $1,500. That's pretty substantial. And if you're really good at recorded videos and such like that, Facebook is a phenomenal platform with really good video that can take off. That would be something that would be, like if I was ever getting involved in something like this, that would be mandatory, just because you have such a high, profit margin per person. And, you get to keep these people. You make something called lookalike audiences. You can then retarget the people that actually visited your page and stuff like that. Like, there's nothing more powerful. And it's like we're still in that time frame, let's just say, where people could take advantage, especially those that have a pretty big and substantial, let's just say, profit margin on there, which would be, every person that you acquire is like, could be potentially up to $2,100. Let's just call it $1,400 for now. So that's like extremely powerful right there. Like I definitely suggest that's something that you're getting yourself into, especially if you're going to raise some money, because you can acquire customers definitely in that methodology. So,
okay. So are you saying when you say you suggest that, you mean in order to just get the type of customers that we've been getting in a lookalike customer? I know you got the lookalike audiences, but you're saying to get more customers actually
so let me explain how it works. So basically, and this is for anyone that's listening too, this is extremely, like I had a course where I taught people about e-commerce, right? So in my course, I had basically a segment that talked about lookalike audiences. So the thing that I would talk about was the key component of lookalike audiences is you want to race to be able to find a way to get a lookalike audience. So what you do is, let's say you have an email list already. Let's say you start running traffic and people are visiting your page, and you have, let's say, 500 to 1,000 people that visited the page. What Facebook does is they will take that list and they will show you, because obviously they were attracted to it for some reason. Okay, they liked the ad that you put up, probably thousands and thousands of people saw it, but let's say only 500 people came into the website. They visited. Now you can take those 500 people, make a lookalike audience, okay, and then create the most likely 1% of the country, because we're talking about USA, so it's 2.1 million people is what they track. Most likely people, and then you can market them directly, bringing down your advertisement costs freaking substantially, and that's powerful. You know what I mean? So you want to chase after that, and that's something that, whether if it's like a partner or you do use like an agency, something like that, it's very powerful if you go after directly, and that could be a way for you guys to scale your sales once your infrastructure is strong, right? Or you figure out ways to systematize it as much as possible, and everything like that. So are you the loan equity holder here? Is there anyone else involved? Like how's this structured?
I'm the one. We're an LLC, but I own 100% of the business.
Okay. And then who else is on your team? Like how many people do you have on your team, and what's your cost on a monthly basis? What's your overhead and everything like that for this?
Our operation costs are at about $187,000 a year. That does include my salary and the salary of two other full-time employees. Everyone else is on contract basis. Even if we, have a busy season or something like that and need to bring in more administrative help, everyone else is just contractual. But we do have two people who have been with me now for over 4 years, and they're phenomenal. They're passionate about what they do. Kat, who does most of our sales, and she also does most of the band management. And then we have Mecca, who is she's the liaison between the band and the customer. She's had some experience with the city of Chicago, with working some major administrative roles there, and the Olympic Games as well. And so, she's super qualified. She's the guru of events, and I'm just trying to find more ways to actually, if I could clone them, I'd already be rich.
It's almost like resources and that's the systems are going to be vital, man. In order to scale, because you can't even do the whole Facebook ads thing and bring a lot of clients on if you don't have the team that's backing it up, or the systems that are ready for it. Okay, cool.
Well, at this point, we're 11% utilized, which means that we can ramp up the amount of business we do at least by 500%, because we have the people and the systems already in place to support that type of business. And so, if we did $5 million in business next year, we already have the teams in place. We have the bands in place. We have the leadership in place. We have those pieces already in place. We actually do need, what we need the most is more customers, because we have teams that may do several weeks of work and then lay dormant for several other weeks in certain cities.
Man.
And so,
and they'll be looking for work, obviously. They're going to be looking for
exactly. So,
there was a guy. So actually, one of my barbers, he was basically, there was a guy sitting across of us, and he basically was talking about, he worked for a guy, he was in a band and everything like that, and then basically he had a dormant time, just like you're saying, and then basically he ended up going and playing for another place, and then the boss got mad at him, and he was like, look, he's like, you can't not give me work for 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Exactly.
Right there. And then what happens when they get a full-time gig for them? So it's like, yeah, you definitely you have to fill those gaps, or it'll only be a matter of time until basically they potentially find something else. Even if you guys, it doesn't even matter if you're better, you pay better, it's a better gig. It doesn't matter. It's survival, right?
Exactly.
Of these individuals, that could be a key component. So you almost need like a manager, a project manager overseeing that itself. So I mean, this sounds super interesting to me. At the very least, I want to hook you up with this guy that is in this type of area. Like maybe there's some type of sync. Very incredible, super smart guy. His wife basically does it. He kind of helps like with the business side of it. They wanted to turn it into an app. Very similar. And I think there's some syncs here potentially for you guys, or at least to see what he's doing compared to what you're doing. And I kind of would like to hear a little bit more about what you're doing and what this individual thinks about what you guys are doing. So do me a favor, and then I'm going to take off now, but I want to hear more, and I want to see if you guys have actual projections or a business plan. I mean, do you guys have any business plan for what you would do with $150,000? Do you have any projections yet, or that's something you haven't been able to work on yet?
We have projections on, we do have some projections I can send over to you. Okay.
All right. So yeah, do me a favor. You can find me directly on Facebook, but most likely contact, I'm not sure who got you on the platform, but if you're in contact with Diani or something like that, she is going to be a little bit slammed today, but maybe she could get you connected with me this week, or whoever got you into pitch, maybe they could get you my contact information directly. And yeah, man, I mean, this sounds really interesting. I mean, the thing is that you have revenue going, and basically, aligning with the right partner can help take this to the next level. And, potentially in my eyes, since I'm very tech, I'm tech heavy, this needs to turn into an app, and then so it's an app, and basically you have the side where it's you still have the sales component and everything like that, but you can automate this stuff. Because let's say someone already has done business with you guys a couple of times, they can just go into the app and do it. You don't need a sales representative. Maybe just someone to call them and just confirm everything, but they could just do everything on their own once they trust you guys, and then you just automate the process, and then it becomes simple, right? When everyone did Airbnb in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, couch surfing, that's insane. Now it's Airbnb, let's go, it all like that. And this is an industry that out from what I'm seeing, it's going in that direction, and it's popular, and you want to help these artists out. There's so many starving artists that would love to get their hands on something, and people would love to get bands a lot quicker and easier. So if you just facilitate that process, would be great. So yeah, sounds very interesting. I like it. You guys are post revenue. You guys are actually profitable. I mean, I think that you have a lot going on here. And you're definitely an investable type of company. I can't say that it would be actually me. I have to see go a little bit further into what you guys are doing. But at least I could connect you with some of the right people. But yeah, this is definitely investable, as long as all the information you're telling me is there. There's nothing that you left out. I mean, I think that there will be people that are interested in this right here. So 100%. You're doing something good. You're doing something good here. 100%.
Thank you.
Good job on this, man. And first of all, I love the name of the company, band, just by itself. That's good. I like it. Band music. That's good. I like it. I'm big on branding. So I'm digging it. So really good. I'm going to connect you with this guy, and I'm going to talk a little bit further. I'd like to see your projections and everything like that. And let's have a conversation. Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for your time. And if you want to check out the band, we're right at thecompanyband.com. Check us out. We're right there. And man, I appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Yep. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on to the Pitchathon today, and Pitch Investors Live. So really appreciate it. You see what we're doing here. We're connecting entrepreneurs. Anyone that from the audience that likes what you're doing, just go check out his website. And, great having you here. It was a great conversation. Like what you're doing. Have a great one.
All right. You too.